Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Tatianna Anesa. You guys, I am so excited for today's video because your girl finally got her hands on the Glamlite X Hershey palettes. Now I have all of the palettes. I will say I did not pick up any of the lips. I didn't feel like I needed them. I feel like I already have those colors in my collection, so I wasn't like intrigued to pick those up, but I did pick up the palettes. And let me just tell you guys, I used all the palettes to create this look today, which we are going to get into. But before we dive into the look, we are going to go ahead and dive into each palette. And I'm going to give you guys the gist and all the information you need to make your decision on if these palettes are worth your coin or not. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's go ahead and start off with this one right here. We have the Hershey Kisses with, what is this? Hershey Kisses Milk Chocolate with Almonds palette. Now, I've never had those kisses before, so I don't know how they taste. This is what it is inspired by. It's a really pretty warm tone palette, and I really like this one a lot for like, you know, every day or for fall. It's just a really pretty bronzy toned palette. All of these palettes retail for $18 a piece, which I do think is a really good price point for these palettes. I really think that's pretty good. The next palette we have is the Cookies and Cream palette. Now, when it comes to Hershey's, the Cookies and Cream Hershey's are definitely my favorite. I love this palette. This is just a blue monochromatic palette. I would have loved to have seen, like if we were really going with the Hershey's Cookies and Cream, you know, vibe, I would have loved to have seen maybe like a black in here and a white. I do like the different take of an all blue palette, but a black and a white would have been like really good for this palette as well. Next, we have the infamous Milk Chocolate palette. Now this one is a very cool toned palette, which makes sense because hello, like chocolate is very cool toned. So that's what this one looks like. If you love cool tones, you might really gonna love this one more than the Milk Chocolate with Almonds. Then we have the Special Dark Mildly Sweet Chocolate palette. Now this is the purple palette, which is really pretty. I'm so happy we have a purple palette in this collection. This is really cute. You guys know I love purple, so anything purple your girl will buy. Like straight up, she will buy it. Super, super pretty. Love the palette. Very stunning. Last but definitely not least, we have the Lava Cake palette, which is probably the palette I'm the most excited for. I saw this all over Insta and I was like, I need this palette. And I think it's more so for this top shade right here. It's just really, really pretty. Oh, it's so stunning. So that's the Lava Cake palette. Like I said, all these palettes do retail for $18 a piece. There are lippies in this collection, but I did not pick up any of the lippies. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on this look today. If you guys wanna see how I got this look, then definitely keep on watching this eye off camera, just so I can know exactly what I wanted to do with all of these palettes. So this is the look that I came up with. So we're gonna use all the palettes today. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the purple palette. I'm gonna take this shade right here on a big fluffy brush. There are no names to this palette, so I'm just gonna have to point to the shades. So I'm gonna take this shade right here and I'm just going to start to pack it in my outer corner and then kind of start to diffuse it out, almost kind of like creating a wing. I'm just kind of like sketching where I want this shade to go. Bring it a little bit higher. Yeah, I'm just like kind of like rough sketching. It's not gonna be perfect, but this is what we're doing here. Now that I have that place where I want to, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the blue palette right here, and I'm gonna take another brush. This one's just from the crayon case. This is a small shadow blender. So I'm gonna take this brush with this palette and I'm gonna go into this light blue shade right here onto my brush. Now this shade is more pastel-y leaning, so I am gonna have to build up the shade just a little bit to show it up, to make sure it shows up just like this side over here. So I'm gonna take this shade and I'm gonna place this right next to that purple But I'm gonna kind of start to diffuse it into the purple so that there is no harsh lines. Little trick with this, I do recommend that you tap and then blend. Tap and then blend. So you can definitely get the full pigment of the shadow. Just like that. All right, so now that that is placed, we're gonna tap into the pink palette, which this is the palette I probably was like the most excited for. This palette is just really, really pretty. And I love this palette. This one's probably my favorite one out of all of them, which is, I'm not surprised. Okay, so I'm gonna take a small blender brush. This is like a Morphe blender brush. It's really tiny. And I'm gonna take this pink shade right here. We're gonna place this shade in the inner corner, blending into the blue. So just gonna take that here. So pretty. And just blend that into the blue. Like that. I'm gonna have to build up this shade as well because I really want it to be intense, just like that. I do like to go back into the previous shades and just kind of like intensify, because once you place the new shade next to it, you kind of lose the previous shades. So I'm just taking the blue again and going back over that just to make sure it pops, like really pops. I just want to make sure this is like blended. Ooh, yeah. So it seems like I'm taking this a lot farther than I wanted, but it's okay. I'm gonna clean it up. We're gonna go ahead and cut the crease. So I love to cut my crease. I like to use my P. Louise base in the shade 2. You guys know I love my P. Louise base. I love it. So let me get that brush, some P. Louise base. The brush that I'm using to cut my crease is the Morphe M421 brush. I love this brush from Morphe. It's really, really great for cutting the crease. You get it at Ulta. It's like $8. It used to be $5, but it's $8 now. So they went up on their price. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut my crease. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of like pat to set. Now that my crease is cut, I'm gonna go into the Milk Chocolate with Almonds palette. And this is the closest shade that I could get to a black. So I'm gonna take this deep shade right here on a liner type of brush. And I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of like give myself a smoky liner kind of shadowy look. So I'm just gonna take this here and just start to kind of like line it upwards. It's okay if it's messy. It's totally fine if it's messy. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of like messily put it in the outer corner, just like that. Now, time for the shimmers. So we're gonna go back into the pink palette, and I am gonna take this really gorgeous shade right here, and we're gonna blend this. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that, like reflect. Stunning. I love this shade. It's really pretty. Okay, just gonna place this here in the inner corner, just blending it over. And then once we have that shade down, we're gonna move into the blue palette. We're gonna go into this blue shimmer shade right here. I'm just taking the same brush because I want all the shadows to blend into each other, and I want it to look like there's no harshness, nothing that is showing that it's a different color and where it starts and stops. I'm just taking this blue shade right next to this pink shade we put down and blending this on the lid. I'm gonna take a different brush. I'm gonna go into the purple palette, and I'm gonna take this shimmer right here, and we're gonna place this in the outer corner just to kind of finish off where I didn't put any shadow. So we're just gonna blend that into the blue. So basically I just did the same thing I did in my crease on my lid. Now we're gonna go back into that liner brush. You don't have to add any more like shadow to it. Just take what's left and just kind of like smoke out the lash line to give that like smoky effect. Ooh, that looks good. All right, so basically that is like the look complete. I am gonna go ahead and finish my base makeup, and then we'll be back for my final thoughts on these palettes. I will have everything that I used on my face linked down below in the description, so if you're curious about what I'm wearing on my face, definitely check out the description box below. This is the finished look. I did go into the milk chocolate palette because this was the only one I didn't use on camera with you guys, but I just took this dark brown shade and put it on my lower lash line for like a kind of like a subtle, like dark lower lash line. Yeah, like I said, everything that I'm wearing today will be linked down below in the description in case you guys are curious about what I have on my face and like what I'm wearing and everything like that. But let's get into my final thoughts on these Glamlite palettes. Now, these palettes I have seen all over Instagram and I was just like, oh my God, I need these palettes. Like, I want these palettes so bad. And I'm sorry it's taking me a little minute to buy these palettes and to get them up on my channel so I can review it for you guys. But I'm so happy that I finally am because these palettes are so good. Like, this look is beautiful. I used all the palettes today. I didn't use every shade in every palette, but I did use all the palettes today. And I really do love this collection. Now, there are lips in this collection. I did not pick up any of the lips because I don't need any more right now at this moment, but this is so great. I think my favorite one is definitely the lava cake one, which is the pink one. This is the one I was just the most excited for. This is also a really good size palette as well. It's just so cute. I love this collection. It's really, really cute. I think Giselle did an amazing job with this collection. It's super, super cute. I really love the look that I was able to create with this palette. Now, I will say, if you could skip any, I think it would come down to out of these two. So let's talk about these two right here. So this one is the milk chocolate, and then we have the milk chocolate with almonds. Now, I don't think you necessarily need both of these palettes, to be honest. I feel like you either should get either or. One is warm tone, one is cool tones. It really just comes down to which one you wear more. Me personally, I'm more drawn to the warm tone. I just love warm tones a lot more than cool tones. I got this one because I feel like I don't have a lot of cool tones in my collection, so I do want to start playing with more cooler toned shadows. So that's why I ended up picking up both of these. But from a consumer perspective, you do not need both of these. It really should just come down to which one you feel like you're gonna get the most use out of. The blue palette is so cute. Now that I have the blue palette, I wanted the blue icy palette, but I don't feel like I need that anymore because I have this palette right here and I feel like this is just perfect. I feel like these shades might be in that palette. So I don't feel like I need to go out and buy the icy blue palette anymore, but I love this blue palette. I love that there's so many different tones of blue. There's just so many different tones in all the palettes where you're not gonna get the same look. There's so many different variations, so many different combinations you can create with these palettes, and I love that. And then the purple one, of course, is really pretty. I really love the purple. You guys know I love my purples. So this one's just really fun to have. And of course, any purple palette, I'm gonna buy it because I'm a sucker for purple. I love my purple palettes, okay? That's my thoughts on the Glamlite x Hershey palettes. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.